Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here with a bit of a return video, but a little bit of a twist on it. You'll see 4 5-card stacks here. One of them is actually 4-card stack, but I'll tell you why that is. um, I sent 2 of these 5-card orders direct for PSA Economy. Those were submissions that I won through the lottery, and then 2 5-card lots I sent for economy grading through a middleman. I use Polaris. Nick and I had him on the PokeFlips podcast the other week, and in the background, I did a little bit of a comparison. A lot of people have wondered, how much longer are middlemen going to be if I use them? Is it worth using them? Why would anyone use them? Those are the things I'm going to try to seek to answer in this video for me personally, and then maybe just some reasons why another person may or may not. But it's not really important. I had actually pre-recorded back in February 2nd was when I sent these all out. I recorded the send-off video, which didn't really make much sense because it's less about the cards and the grades. It's more about the actual talk about the middlemen, but I'm going to show you the cards anyways. These 5 were base set 1999 to 2000. As you see, I got a couple 9s. The Charizard got an 8. Chansey got a 6. Must be a little bend going on there somewhere. Blastoise got a 7. Not the greatest cards to have sent at 50 bucks a piece. This one even worse. You could see I was stretching a little bit for what to send at $50 a piece. The Pokeball got an 8. The Pikachu got an 8, so I'm getting really beat up on those. I don't know if those will even sell for the cost of grading. But these 3 did get 10s, so I think these go for a couple $100. I probably, on that 5-card submission alone, like considering 3 of them got 10s, I'm probably going to make a little bit of money over having sold all 5 raw. So that works out. Back in January, I did a MetaZoo video where I opened up a sample pack that I'd bought from Rusty at TCA Gaming. Unfortunately, the Bunnyman that was on the front of the pack and the Wendigo on the back of the pack, those both got 6s, but 2 9s and an 8. Pretty reasonable on those 3. So those are MetaZoo sample cards. The Wendigo and the Bunnyman, I'll probably end up cracking to try and grade with either CGC or BGS just to get a higher grade. They both had like little edge damage that I mentioned back in that video in January. So it was kind of expected they might get 6s, but I sent them anyways and took the shot. This last stack, there's only 4 because I did have a Nightfall Pin Club Mothman PSA 10 that sold. I mentioned that in my MetaZoo video on Saturday. But again, a few minutes here just to show you the cards that came back in it. And with that, now that you've seen the cards, we're going to cut over to the spreadsheet so we can do like the real purpose of this video and talk about the mechanics of sending to a middleman versus submitting directly. And yeah, I will catch you over at the spreadsheet. Hey everyone, so you got to see the cards that I sent, a little bit questionable at the $50 tier, and moving ahead, I'm unlikely to use the $50 tier too much more frequently. But anyways, let's get into the spreadsheet. Not much of a spreadsheet here, not like there's many calculations going on, just to organize my data, organize my thoughts. So as I mentioned, when I showed the cards, I sent 4 5-card lots for economy grading. The sent date, what I did, I didn't mention, I sent them in 2 batches. So I sent, just to get like 2 different data points in case they varied a little bit. They don't necessarily use first in, first out over at PSA. So yeah, I sent 1 of each, direct and middleman. Up here's direct, down here's Polaris on February 2nd. And then I sent 1 each a week later on February 9th. The arrive date to PSA kind of blew my mind. I sent them, I'm in New York, PSA's in California. I sent them like small flat rate box, not express, not overnight, anything like that. I sent on February 2nd, arrived, not entered, arrived on February 4th, sent on February 9th, arrived the next day, February 10th. That was surprising. And then for Polaris, I didn't necessarily go by arrived. Maybe I should have put this in the entered tab, because this was the day that they emailed me. Basically what they do is when they receive them, they'll email you the invoice. I didn't have to pay it yet until the end when they were finally graded and then the day that they were shipped to me. But so yeah, sent February 2nd. I was emailed the invoice February 7th, sent February 9th, and I was sent the invoice February 14th. So what you'll see is PSA went on to enter it February 15th and February 22nd. So a week apart and a week apart for the enter date. And then they shipped in March 11th and March 14th. You'll note right off the bat, 37 and 33 calendar days was the entire turnaround time from me shipping them out to them shipping them back. I would have received it a day or two later. 37 and 33 calendar days. Going through the middleman was the middleman, Polaris, Peter over at Polaris, fairly significantly longer. About 35 days and then 32 days, I guess. So a little over like a month each longer. Some people might think, oh, that's completely unreasonable. I wouldn't want it to take a month longer. Clearly, like the mechanics of it, direct to PSA, I send a PSA, they do their thing, they send it back. Middleman, literally, there's a man in the middle. I send it to the middleman, they send it to PSA, they send it to the middleman, they send it to me. It's going to take longer almost every time. There's really no way around that. One question that there is are PSA direct submissions prioritized? We've found historically, recently, in the past, they have been. A lot of my middleman submissions through PSA from late 2020 still aren't back. And generally what we've found is the bulk from early 2021, late 2020, most of the direct ones are back a little bit ahead. But so yeah, we don't really know 100% like what day exactly Polaris sent it to PSA, what day exactly Polaris sent it, or PSA sent it back to Polaris. But if you figure like a week of that, probably I send it, they gather up, because it was only 5 cards. They probably gather up several 5-card submissions, me and other customers. The way it actually worked when they sent me this email, they combined the invoice into one. So likely my 10 cards did go out all at once. I can actually tell by the cert numbers. They did go all out at once. So I sent them a week apart. They were lotted together. Could even be 2 weeks on the front end and then maybe a week or 2 on the back end. And then you've explained the whole month lapse. So with higher service levels, a month is significant. It almost doubled the time. Down here, I mentioned my plan. What I take from this is higher service levels, and that's kind of always the way I've operated. Anything where I'm spending $50 a card or more and sending like 10 cards or less, I do myself. I hate entering cards into PSA's website, but the main benefits of middlemen, for me at least, are the fact that they do all the entry, especially if you have kind of niche items that you don't know even the variants off the top of your head. Like I could send some random Japanese promo that I don't even fully know what it is, and I don't have to try to figure out what it is, find it in their system, get it entered, and then go. Polaris will do all that. So if you're sending like 50 of one promo and then 50 of another, it's pretty easy to do on PSA's website too. But sending to a middleman, I can send 100 cards, all different sets, different languages, and they're going to do all that tedious work of doing the entry. So small 5-card submissions, it doesn't really make sense. I just wanted to do it to try it out and see what happened. Benefit for sending the really large subs as well. Like I usually send between 200 and 500 cards each. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll see that most of my PSA returns are between 200 and 500 cards. So once we open the lower tiers, 25 and under, 20, 10, maybe $20 a card, $10 a card, I'm definitely going to go back to using middlemen and doing 200 plus card submissions. But in the short term, I'm probably almost done sending altogether at the $50 tier. One nice thing, if you do want to go with middlemen, you don't have to play the lottery game. PSA Direct economy was $50 per card. I paid shipping out and I paid shipping back at my rate sending it out, obviously, and then PSA's rate sending it back. When you send to a middleman, I pay the same my rate sending it out. For these, I just use small flat rate boxes at USPS. Sending it back, though, The return shipping for Polaris, because they're a big middleman, they have like negotiated contracted rates with UPS. Their rate sending cards back to me is cheaper than like PSA's rate sending cards back to me. It's not a massive thing, but overall, also instead of paying $50 per card and having to play the lottery, I could send as many as I want at $48 a card. Again, it's not massively significant, but across 10 cards, I saved $20 and maybe another 10 on the shipping. So I saved about $30 across my 10 cards, and I added a month to it. Once we get to, let me know in the comments below if you want to see this again. Potentially what I'll do, CGC bulk is supposedly really fast right now. I kind of made a video back in January that I'm done with CGC. Things might be changing though. You're going to be seeing this video on Monday. I will have a video Thursday this week. So I'm going to do Monday, Thursday, not Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Thursday is going to be a return video from CGC. It is the final set of 200 cards that I had out at CGC. They came back. A little bit of a spoiler. Perfect 10, pristine 10, a lot of 10s, a lot more 10s than I ever saw. And the fact that I've heard anecdotally that people are getting 11 business days, 14 business days, like we're talking less than a month turnaround times for CGC bulk. So maybe my next experiment will be reiterating the same experiment, CGC direct versus CGC middleman. And on bulk, when you're talking about a month complete turnaround time, or maybe, I guess that's what this was here though too, a month. It'll be interesting to see if it's a month and 2 months again, or if it varies a little bit more. Maybe Polaris sends bulk more often than they send economy. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you want to see a similar video. My personal long-term plan for middlemaning is just to do 100 plus, 200 plus card subs, basically to save the labor. I don't really care. I mean, $2 or $3 a card on a $50 tier, it's not a huge deal. It is a few percent discount, but when PSA was open last year or 2020 for $10 a card, I was able to submit to Ludkins for about $1 a card cheaper. And I was able to submit in soft penny sleeves instead of having to use card savers. During the pandemic, when card savers were really hard to find and really expensive, I was saving over $1 a piece when you factor shipping, the reduced grading fee, and all that. And even if it adds a few months, I mentioned this before somewhere on the forum or maybe in a podcast, in 2020 to early 2021, I sent out 10,000 cards through middlemen, through Ludkins. If Ludkins didn't exist, I had a full-time job at the time. If I had to do all that entry by myself, I probably couldn't have gotten 2,000 cards out, maybe about 2,000 cards out. So having a middleman being able to like do all that labor that I hate to do, that's one of my least favorite parts of my job, is like entering cards into submission forms. So yeah, it's labor that I don't like to do. It allows me to get cards out quicker, even if it takes a month or 2 months or a few months on the back end. Like I got 10,000 slabs out. I'm still hundreds of slabs behind listing them. So it's not like the fact that I think I have maybe another 500 to 1,000 cards out at PSA. It's not like me not having those. I wouldn't be able to get them listed anyways, because I'm just behind on that. I'm trying to get caught up with that, but hopefully by the time my last PSA order comes back, I will be completely caught up. So yeah, anyways, turning into a bit of a ramble, but this was my experience side by side, economy level, comparing middlemen versus direct. Me as a business, I had a recent video mentioning business insurance. I'm insured everything I ship inbound, outbound, regardless, but like through Polaris, they do offer more of an insurance when you're sending to PSA. I have that kind of insurance anyways to some extent, but for an individual who doesn't have any kind of insurance, Polaris does afford itself a little bit better insurance than you would get sending to PSA direct. So I'm not trying to say you should or you shouldn't use a middleman. I'm just showing you some data. I'm telling you why I do. In the future, I won't on cards like this anymore. I'm probably done sending for $50 a card anyways. Why send today for $50 a card when I can likely send in a year or two for $10 a card? It makes sense on like super quick flips, trying to play that, but I have so much inventory that I'd rather just try and get that sold. So yeah, there's my thoughts. Let me know if you want to see this on like a bulk tier sub, if it would be valuable to anybody. The thing is, like, it's such a dynamic thing. PSA doesn't use first in, first out. If I were to iterate this 20 times over the next couple of years, it's going to vary a lot. Maybe sometimes the middleman adds a month. Maybe there's a crazy month. Maybe there's a crazy submission where PSA first in, first out. Maybe somehow a middleman beats a direct one at some point. People might think, oh, that couldn't be a thing. I've been submitting to PSA for 8 years, and there were times like 6-7 years ago, bulk used to be done anywhere between like 5 business days and 50 business days. I would send a 500 card order, and then like a week prior, I had sent like a 50 card order, and my 500 card order would beat the 50 card order just randomly. Like, it never has to make sense. So this is 2 specific data points, not going to be indicative of everyone's experience every time. And maybe I'll add some more data points down the line for any value it might provide to anybody. Just a way to kind of spice up a grading return video, I guess. But anyways, that's everything I've got for today. Feel free to reach out to Peter over at Polaris if you're interested in sending for $48 a card without having to play the PSA lottery game. You don't have to have a, that's one other thing you save. You don't have to have a Collectors Club membership, $100 a year, whatever that costs. You can submit to Polaris without a membership. So yeah, that's everything for today. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.